So we're going to go into our first overall theme here, which is our fan experience technology track. And what we have is 3 really awesome 10-minute presentations. And then we're going to bring back each of those 3 speakers for a 15-minute panel. So be prepared for that. And we're going to bring up our first speaker now, Sam Garfield from Adobe. Sam, please come on up. Give him a big round of applause. Appreciate you being here.
All right. Sam Garfield, I lead our media entertainment digital strategy group at Adobe. How do you follow a commissioner? A better question, how do you follow a commissioner who just put on one of the most successful all-star games in the history of sports? The only way you can do it is by rolling tape. So. That's Adobe Firefly. That's our generative AI solution. And generative AI is going to be the most transformational technology of our lifetimes. Now, think about that for a minute, because most of us in this room have lived through major technology transformations. The cloud, mobile, social. Generative AI is going to be the most impactful of them all. And then you say, why? Why is that? And I think that the answer is in the name. The ability to generate text and image, create something new at a scale and pace that we've never seen before. So let's get into it a little bit here. There we go. Okay, where are we in the industry? What are people doing with generative AI? I would say that we're just at the early stages, just getting off the ground. Most people, most media companies, most sports leagues have started an AI council. They have pilots going on, and now looking at how do you scale that. I like the quote from Sir Martin Sorrell. He said about generative AI, 2023 was the year of wow, 2024 was the year of how, and 2025 is going to be the year of now. And so companies are looking at how do I scale this, but at the same time, there's still concerns. And I would say those concerns really go into 2 categories. The first is around copyright, legal issues. How was the content and the data that fed these models obtained? Was it legally obtained? Do we have the rights to use it? And then the second area of concern is around brand safety, quality of the images. You still need a human to kind of look through and make sure everything's right. We take these concerns really seriously at Adobe. Our Firefly model that you saw is commercially safe. Everything has been legally obtained using Adobe stock footage and others. It's a real differentiator for us in the marketplace. We work with the Fortune 500 companies that rely on us for this type of technology. There are no shortcuts. So what are the use cases that we're seeing in the industry and around sports? I'd say most companies start with storyboard and ideation. So this is the beginning of a creative process. In the past, somebody has an idea, they sketch it out, sometimes on a piece of paper, deliver it to a creative designer. That process takes 2 weeks, comes back, you have to tweak it. I don't like it, I want you to do this or that. That's been compressed into minutes. Like, I was talking to an executive at a sports media network, and he's giving an example. LeBron James, let's say I want King LeBron, put him on a throne, put a crown on his head. That would be something that would take 2 weeks. Now you put it into Firefly, you generate that model, And if you want to fill in the background with generative fill of a basketball court or change the color, you can do that on the fly. So very low-hanging fruit in terms of use cases. The second one I'd talk about is live sports and events where you have in-game events that you really can't plan for. And being able to generate that social media post or whatever you're looking to do in the game, this gives you now the flexibility to be able to do that. And lastly, everybody's looking at how do we go global? How do we take sports on a global basis? The localization of that content into different languages in 210 countries around the world, now what was a very tedious task can become much more routine, and you can generate one asset and then create those localized versions. How do you do it? So the good news is that there's 3 pillars. There's content, data, and journeys. The good news is, on the data front, most companies have spent the last 3 to 5 years getting their customer data in good shape. We see that at Adobe. We have a customer data platform technology, and we really see companies investing in collecting that customer data and using that in a one-to-one relationship with their customers. What generative AI unlocks is the content piece, which historically has been a pretty high bar of investment and resources. Now we're going to be able to have that content generated in a much more automated and scaled way. And then the journey is how you activate that. And that's in the stadium or online. Adobe's the only company that can start with the ideation of an asset, take it through the creation of the asset, the variations, apply data, activate it, and measurement, the full end-to-end scope. One of the trends we're seeing is athlete-centric fandom. So the athletes are now generating their own content. So you have athletes with social media posts, athletes on podcasts. There's a lot of content that's coming out of the athletes themselves, and the leagues have to partner with those athletes to really unlock that fan interest for mutually beneficial both sides. And so what you roll into when you look at all this is basically a math problem, right? So you could plug in whatever your situation is here, but you got 16 teams times 286 games times 156 athletes times the number of channels you're trying to get your content out to and the formats that you need. And you plug in your own math, and you'll see that you have to generate thousands and thousands of content assets. And so how can you do that quickly? And the answer is it's going to be Gen AI. And the speed and scale is going to be automated in a way that it's integrated into your existing workflows. And we think that's a big differentiator at Adobe in terms of not having to go somewhere else to do something and then come back and do it over here. Everything needs to be integrated into the existing workflows to realize those efficiency gains. Because if you have to go over here, and then you have to go over here, and then you have to go over here, you've now made your life 3 times more difficult, and all the time savings you have just went to these 3 different places. So really looking at how do we integrate Gen AI into the product. So for example, Photoshop, you have generative fill. You can fill in blank space with whatever you want, like you saw in the video, ocean, put an ocean there, you can do that. But that's already in the tools that people are using to create content. And so some of the things we're seeing in sports is customized highlights. I think a great example of this was in the Summer Olympics. NBCU gave customers the ability, or fans the ability, to customize their own highlights, what they wanted to see. I think there was even a Gen AI, Al Michaels, narrating those customized highlights. We talked about the translation to multiple languages. We're definitely seeing a lot of that. And then asset variations. So, take, for example, you want to see Ohtani in Yankee Stadium. Now you want to see him in Dodger Stadium. Now you want to see him on the moon. All of that can be done, click of a button, multiple asset variations. And so, as I said in the beginning, this is now starting to scale. We have a lot of customers, both in the media entertainment industry, other industries as well, who have been using generative AI, not just to automate their marketing and content assets, but to offer it to the customers and let the customers use that in a design of a campaign or a product. So an example here from Paramount was for the movie If. And If is, I don't know if you've seen the movie If, but it's a big furry creature that is in somebody's imagination. They basically gave the Firefly app to their customers, and they said, generate your own If character. So you could go in and say, hey, I want a unicorn, this and that, then that would be labeled your If character. And they got really strong engagement from social. I think it was like up 50, 60% on the baseline of what they usually would do. So I thought that's a good example. And then the next example I'm going to show you is also a video that Gatorade did, where they allowed customers to design their own Gatorade bottle using Firefly. So I'll show you that. Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to keep going at rapid pace here. Our next 10-minute presentation is delivered by Carrie Zaremba from Major League Baseball. Come on out, Carrie. Thank you so much.
Thank you. What's your earliest childhood memory of attending a baseball game? Is it a sound, a taste, a smell? Who are you with? How does it make you feel? For me, it's cotton candy. It's 1983. I'm 8 years old, and my dad's taking me to see the Phillies and Mike Schmidt play at Veterans Stadium. A hawker weaves his way through the crowded ballpark aisle with towering pink and blue bundles on tall wooden poles. My dad exchanges $1 for a fluffy pink cloud. He hands this magical gift to me, and as soon as it touches my tongue, it dissolves into a burst of pure sweetness. That, for me, was baseball. We've asked our fans what it was for them. In our research, they often say things like the organ music, the crack of the bat, the smell of hot dogs or freshly cut grass, the awe of seeing the sheer size of the ballpark for the first time, the Cracker Jack box, or the mascot. But whatever the thing was, it became the origin of that fan's baseball nostalgia. Nostalgia is a powerful emotional anchor. You see, people don't just remember the past, they feel it. But for nostalgia to work, it needs two things: a positive emotional connection and a key moment, usually in the form of a sensory or situational trigger. At Major League Baseball, I oversee a product development vertical that focuses on ticketing and the experience of attending a live baseball game. Our mission is to be the stewards of nostalgia for our fans. We believe we should either be removing obstacles in the way of fans feeling nostalgia or actively creating pathways to help them get there. And we think if we get that right for our fans, the rest will come. The tickets will sell, attendance will increase, the fan base will expand, including to younger generations, and most importantly, we'll have lifelong fans. That's a pretty bold assumption, right? But there's actually a rational basis for making this kind of leap. You see, most decisions feel logical in hindsight, but they're actually deeply rooted in the limbic system of our brains, where emotions and memories drive decision-making. The rational brain's job isn't to decide to buy a ticket, decide to attend a game, decide to become a season ticket holder. But the rational brain's job is to justify the choice that emotions already made. So if we're the stewards of nostalgia for our fans, then what's the most effective way to get fans to feel nostalgia? Today, we believe it may combine both digital and sensory experiences. In other words, the phygital experience. Phygital is where the physical and digital meet. And we believe those phygital experiences should center around key moments in a fan's ballpark experience. And this aligns with how the human brain works. It doesn't function like a video recorder storing every second of our experiences. But memory acts more like a highlight reel, compressing long experiences into the most meaningful snapshots, the key moments. At baseball, our fan research shows that one of those key moments is walking through the gates. Fans repeatedly described the awe they felt the first time they entered one of our beautiful ballparks. Only honestly, we were kind of blowing it. In ballpark after ballpark, we saw that the magical moment of entering a Major League Baseball stadium was getting lost in a heads-down digital interaction. So we spent a lot of time simply observing people, how they behaved, their interactions with gate staff, and their reactions. Fans couldn't look up to experience that emotion of awe because they were looking down, wrestling with technology, angling their phone just right to try to get the barcode to scan, or figuring out where exactly to tap for NFC. And the gate attendants were doing the same thing. In their attempt to help, they were also looking down, interacting with the tech, not the fan. Now, technically, the technology works, right? You can scan a barcode on a digital ticket or tap for NFC, and it will get a fan into the ballpark. But the existing technology created an obstacle in the way of fans feeling the emotion of awe, the nostalgia of taking in the sheer scale of the stadium. Instead of enabling our fans to tilt their heads back, we made the moment small, transactional, and irritating. Fans' faces looked visibly frustrated and annoyed. So even though the moment of entering a ballpark should trigger nostalgia, our technology introduced factors that actually block that feeling. A lack of personal connection, a lot of distractions, and a negative or, at best, neutral emotional association with stadium entry. So given all of this, we asked ourselves, what should a ballpark entry experience look and feel like? And these are the key insights from our research. Number one, this had to be an eyes-up experience. We had to remove the obstacles in the way of a fan feeling the emotion of awe. Number two, this was actually an opportunity to create a human connection between the gate attendant and the fan through a face-to-face hospitality moment. Fans want to feel special and welcome when they enter. Number three, we had to consciously design for flow through the entire ingress system, meaning security screening, bag check, and ticket scan, not speed of any one piece. This was about more than speed and efficiency, although those are really nice byproducts, but about the magic a fan should feel by being able to simply walk straight in. And number four, we knew that 95% of our fans attend games as a group, and 2/3 of those groups are families. Therefore, the magic would be in admitting whole groups together. And so, our first phygital experience was born in MLB's Go Ahead Entry, which uses your face as your ticket and combines free-flow security screening with facial authentication and access control. No phone, no barcode, just your face. Go Ahead Entry enables fans to enjoy an eyes-up, hands-free way to enter the ballpark. Go Ahead Entry is unique in that it doesn't require a fan to physically stop or get their phone out to scan a ticket or interact with any kind of screen, but they can simply walk straight in without even breaking stride. In addition, Go Ahead Entry enables gate attendants to greet fans by name, and it can process large groups of ticket holders all at the same time. So let's talk about the results. I'm going to show you a side-by-side video with Go Ahead Entry lanes in the foreground and traditional lanes in the background. Go Ahead Entry is unequivocally faster. Across the 7 MLB clubs that used it last season, It was 2.5 times faster than traditional lanes. In its first full MLB season, Go-Ahead Entry reached adoption rates in just 1 year that took Apple Wallet 3 years to hit. And Go-Ahead Entry has been recognized for 3 industry awards for technology innovation. But none of those things should be our barometer of success. Instead, we need to ask ourselves, did we make a positive emotional connection with our fans at a key moment in their ballpark experience?
That's amazing! Oh, Scott, you're good. Yeah, that's so cool! All right. I don't know why I'm so excited about that.
And so, as the stewards of nostalgia for our fans, we're now turning our focus to the next phygital experience, the next key moment for a fan attending a baseball game. So recall from our research that there were a lot of things fans told us that triggered their nostalgia. But do you know what was the most frequently mentioned thing that fans said was? The iconic ballpark food. When it comes to concessions, we've thrown a lot of technology and options at our fans. But we've made the moment of trying to get that iconic ballpark food confusing, frustrating, and even overwhelming. But therein lies a big opportunity. For me, when I look back at that first game with my dad, I don't remember if the Phillies won or lost that day. But I find myself, over 4 decades later, still trying to recreate the essence of that early childhood memory. Only this time not for me, but for my 2 kids. When I take them to a game, it just doesn't quite feel complete unless it involves cotton candy. And just like for us, for our kids, it's the small sensory and emotional experiences that will etch themselves into their memory and become the origins of their nostalgia down the road. Our fans shouldn't have to work for it. And so, as one of the stewards of nostalgia for our fans, I'm incredibly excited to help transport them back to being 8 years old again in the stands with their parents. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you very much. All right, excellent from Carrie. I challenge each of you to go up to someone you don't know at a networking break and just ask them what was the first memory at a sports game you recall. And I think that's a great tee-up from Carrie there. Third and final 10-minute presentation of this panel coming up right now. I'm pleased to welcome Jason Caliento, the Chief Commercial Officer at Bolden Networks. Jason, please take the stage. Thank you.
Before the lights come on, before the fans arrive, before the team takes the field, Bolden Networks is there to ensure that the sports cathedrals of the world have seamless connectivity. We design, build, and operate the networks that enhance the fan experience, secure the venue, drive commerce, connect the back of house, and with social media, create the ultimate sense of FOMO. Servicing over 1,000 events annually with dedicated teams, 24/7 monitoring, game day support, and a growing suite of analytics, we're your partner to elevate game day. So before the final whistle, know that Bolden has you covered. Bolden Networks, elevate your game.
All right. Hey, it's great to be back here at SPJ. Great to see so many colleagues and customers and partners. We're excited to be here. Since we spoke about a year ago here, we've added 5G at Arrowhead, a full neutral host system. We've added 5G at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. I don't know if Mike Conley's here, but 5G at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. We built a network at the University of Utah supporting 70,000 fans that had the student section roaring for us, which was great to see on social media. And so I emphasize this because what we're seeing in the industry right now is just significant changes in the venue space, lots of renovations, and it's really bringing up the conversation about converged networks. So in addition to cellular, really making sure that there's great fan-facing Wi-Fi, there are private networks, there's sensor networks, all supported by a deep fiber backbone, to ensure that we've got connectivity into the future to support all of the incredible apps that this group specifically is working on. At Bolden, we've long emphasized the importance of connectivity. Last year, we presented our seminal study on the fan experience and the fan expectations inside of venues. And a couple of just high-level stats from that study. One, 87% of fans, regardless of the demographic, are sharing on social media. 81% of fans expressed that if food was more convenient, if merch was more convenient, ordering was more convenient, they would spend more in the ballpark. So what we're seeing is really a translation of how these networks support that fan experience, really enhance the back of house operations and drive commerce. So here's the reality. 5G alone isn't enough. We do believe that a full layer of 5G, Wi-Fi, and private networks is what the modern ballpark needs. The reason is 5G really isn't ubiquitous. We see that all the time. It's really disparate, especially when you get into the minor leagues. Additionally, 5G, with all respect to our carrier partners, doesn't give you as venue owners or teams any specific insights about who's in the ballpark or how they're moving through the ballpark or how you are able to understand where they've been, where they're headed, and what transactions that they've made. So with Wi-Fi and private networks, venues take control. They have real-time analytics and info on users and use cases all the time. So don't just take our word for it. What we've done is outsource a part of this presentation to two industry leaders. So I'm going to bring up to the stage who are going to talk about how they're using converged networks in their ballparks and on their game day to make sure that there's a great fan experience and that the team has all advantage. So if you'll welcome to the stage with me, Matt Seeback, who is the Chief Experience Officer at St. Louis City SC, and Christian Lau, the Chief Technology Officer for LAFC. Thanks for coming out. Yeah. Hey. So I'm going to ask Matt to talk a little bit about his experience and how they're leveraging technology at St. Louis.
Yeah, thank you. What a pleasure to go in front of LAFC here. Filibuster the whole time. No, thanks for having us. I was on the award judging panel this year, so great to meet so many of the award winners and the nominees last night and today. So a little bit about us. I'm the Chief Experience Officer. That means I oversee all the fan touch points at the club, from social, digital, retail, the live experience, but the underlying technology. And we're in a new soccer-specific stadium built 3 years ago, but it's on a 32-acre district that also has our team headquarters, 3 training fields, a 2-story retail store. So we've really taken a connected city approach to our connectivity story. And I think it's table stakes was up there before. And I think the way that we were able to approach this 3 years ago is to actually not think of it just as table stakes. Table stakes to our ownership groups always sounds like an added expense. It's not real sexy. But if we look at connectivity and that infrastructure from cellular, converged network, Wi-Fi, our private networks, and really truly look at them as enablers of innovation and empowering and uplifting the fan experience, that gets us to the next level. It's got tangible ROI, directly and indirectly. And if you look at where we're going from a connected city approach is the immense amount of data. About a third of our sales are split between walkout markets, self-service kiosks, and mobile order ahead is something we've also pushed really, really strongly through a homegrown mobile app. All of those things are very different consumer choices, the right place at the right time, but they all have to work. And if they don't, the trust goes down and that repeat value continues to decrease. The other side of it is just insights alone. Insights from being able to look at dwell time, being able to geofence areas, macro level and on the floor, using beacon technologies to look at wait times, to be able to understand where are our fans hanging out at halftime, so that we know if we're going to build a new concession stand, really what is the value. And then the other part is sponsors. Our sponsors always want to know what are the behaviors of our fans, and what is the ROI that we're getting in the venue. So I think all of these things, from the fan side to the data, and even all the way back to the sponsors, has real indirect and direct ROI. We just have to, I think, flip the psychology from table stakes to enabling.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate your insights. Christian, you want to talk a little bit about your journey?
Thank you. Yeah, so BMO Stadium, we're coming on our 8th season now. We've been around for a minute. We've started to evolve the operation. We're really focused on moving away from traditional belly up, those types of things. We've developed a platform with our partner Wicket. Can I say names? Is that all right?
Name names.
BMO Stadium Express is ticketing with Ticketmaster. It gets you in the building, as Kerry was saying, face up. We're slowly getting adoption there. We're working through some things. But then there's also the face identity for concessions. So you can buy beer with your face, which has actually been done really well. We work with a company called Mastion, which some of you probably know. They're integrated together. We also use mobile driver license in California. And so we work with a company called Credence ID. So as a patron, you guys are all invited to come out to BMO Stadium. But when you're going to go and buy a beer, you're going to put those down on the Mastion unit, and your face or your mobile driver license have to be recognized before the transaction will complete. And so we're working on those types of things. Lots of innovation in the stadium, but what we've learned is, our network that was built, Wi-Fi network, in 2017, we opened in 2018, is starting to get a little long in the tooth. And so we've actually tapped Bolden, who's our DAS partner already, on building out and designing a new converged network, which we're hoping to start that process later this year. Next generation Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi 7, private 5G network. Our ultimate goal, and I'm sure some of our partners are here, is to have all of our back-of-house endpoints run on 5G. We want to move away from Wi-Fi for all of the things that are back-of-house operations type things. It's an interesting roadmap. Probably 24 months from now, we'll have all that stuff hopefully in place. Dropping the gauntlet here today. But yeah, there's a lot of cool things happening in the space. I probably should have started with our whole premise. Everything we do on the tech stack has to do with the guest service. We want people to be happy when they come to BMO Stadium, not only for MLS, but also NWSL, and then we do a massive concert business. And so we want to make sure we have so many different types of people coming into our venue. Lots of people have never been there before. And so we want to service everyone in a really cool, pleasant way. And we're known for being, tech forward for the most part. And a lot of our season ticket members appreciate that. We've kind of, raised the bar there where we could, in LA. And so we're just going to continue to do those types of things. And, when St. Louis comes to town, hopefully we'll have a good time and beat you guys. But that's where we're at. So yeah, but the converged network really is the future. There was a point in time where we thought, Wi-Fi would be good and then, you're done, right? But the reality of all of it, we have the Olympics coming. Expo Park is where we're based in Los Angeles, and we will be an Olympic venue. And then Expo Park will also be the Olympic Village for the media. And so there's a lot of connectivity requirements and things that we're working through now. So.
Yeah, so two true pioneers and innovators in the space. Greatly appreciate our partnerships, doing really exciting things in the venue that then we want to be able to export, if you will. So Tech Week exclusive here. We've got one more person to bring out on stage. So at Bolden Networks, we work closely with our partners here. So I'd like to bring out Chris Schlosser, who's the Senior VP and the head of the Apple partnership at MLS. So please
Thank
welcome
you.
Chris.
Good to see you guys. Matt and Christian are two of the most innovative guys in the industry. They are driving the fan experience in St. Louis and LA year on year on year, creating better and better experiences, better and better use of technology. And that's really critically important because MLS has the youngest fans in American pro sports, the most tech-savvy fans in American pro sports. So we need to provide best-in-class experiences for our fans. 2 weeks ago, we kicked off our 30th season. Amazing that MLS is now 30 years old. It's the third season of our global media partnership with Apple. We are at the very forefront of driving this beautiful game around the world, but also the fan experience. And as we think about the next generation of the fan experience. One of the things that's been crystal clear to us is if we want that magical stadium experience, the fans going crazy, the supporters going wild, the songs, the chants, we have to have great connectivity because all of the cool things that we want to do require that the fans can pull out their device and have an unbelievably seamless experience. And so as we looked around, we spent a lot of time on this thinking about how do we really take that next step? How do we really empower our clubs to be at that cutting edge and the forefront of all of the next generation of experiences? And it all comes back to connectivity. And so we did a full survey of the industry, and we're really thrilled to be partnering with Bolden Networks to help become the official provider of connectivity for the league and really empower our clubs to take that next step.
Yeah, we couldn't be more excited about the partnership, and we're looking forward to working with all of you and continue to work with you guys. And so great partner in you personally, and we're really excited about working with the league. So we'll close with a brief video. Thank you, guys. Thank you. We'll get out of the way.
Major League Soccer, home of the beautiful game. Majestic Stadium, a technology leader. The world's most recognizable faces. A growing fan base breaking records for attendance every year. Bolden Networks, a leader in connecting sports and entertainment venues across the world. We've grown together, and now we're partnering to elevate the tech stack and business outcomes across the league. Together, Major League Soccer and Bolden Networks aim to enhance fans and venue experiences with seamless connectivity. Bolden Networks is expanding league-wide to deliver efficiency in back-of-house operations and drive a set of analytics that provide business insights, actionable outcomes, and a clear return on investment. Major League Soccer, Bolden Networks, elevating technology, elevating match day.
All right, we're going to bring out some chairs here. We're going to get to the panel session of this fan experience theme, and then we're going to go to a networking break. So I'm very pleased to have our managing editor for technology here at SBJ, Jen Azara, come join us and moderate this panel. A reminder to all of you, we're going to be flashing a QR code up here. You can use that to submit questions to our moderators throughout our show. They're going to have that red iPad up here, and they're going to be scanning through it and work relevant questions into the panels. So those are some notes, and we're going to get going here right away. And Jen, whenever you're ready. Thanks, everyone.
Hi, everybody. I want to start off by thanking Jason, Carrie, Sam. It was terrific. I think you all, when we first saw the agenda, I said, this is very, fan engagement is a large bucket, and you guys all come at it from very different angles. And I wanted to thank all of you for sharing your insights. I think you really kind of rounded out the picture and the different ways you can come at this, maybe some unexpected ways that you might not have thought of. So I know we already have some questions on the iPad, so I thank you all, and feel free to put those in on the app. But first, we'll just talk a little bit, amongst ourselves. And I think the first thing I wanted to ask was, also, congratulations, Jason, on your big news, right?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we broke it for you guys first.
Thank you for sharing it with us. We appreciate that. Kind of looking forward through the rest of the year, and some of you touched a little bit on this. I mean, what initiatives are you most excited about that you guys have on the kind of near horizon in terms of what you're looking at?
Well, why don't we go to Carrie? I just
rolled
tape on mine.
Take a breather.
Right, yeah.
Take a drink.
So I alluded to it, but we're turning our focus to concessions and the experience, the purchasing experience, and trying to make that a lot more smooth and personalized. But we're also doing a lot of discovery around the use of space and the optimization of flow and maybe even the reduction of choice if it makes it more simple and easier for fans to get what they want faster. So this will be a multi-year initiative because when you look across 30 ballparks, we have a lot of technology fragmentation in the ecosystem. We have upwards of 10 point-of-sale systems for concessions, 8 for retail. You have different, sometimes third-party parking vendors, and 2 ticketing systems. So it's a lot to sort of reconcile. And then on top of that, you have different loyalty programs, different types of season ticket holder benefits and privileges that lend themselves to commerce and purchases, all of which need to be reconciled. So that's what we're most excited about, is to make that better. Yeah.
And just one follow-up, because it was something that you and I were talking about a little bit backstage. You guys are obviously very close to the fans, and you pull a lot of data. What are the primary kind of research methods? How are you doing that? What ways are you reaching out to fans on a regular basis?
We survey our fans all the time. Some of that may be through email outreach. Others are through the app. We might, ask them a question in real time after they've done something or experienced something. We also have teams that conduct discovery in the field. They'll just do observation, watch how people are acting and behaving, interacting with different things. And then we have user research groups. So it's quite a lot of different methods that we use to gather all of that feedback.
Sure. Terrific. Sam, can we turn the forward-looking question to you?
Sure, yeah, and I spent a lot of time talking about generative AI in terms of text and images, but what I'm most excited about is video, and we've been working on that for quite some time, and we just released the public beta for video, especially for our industry and media, entertainment, sports. Video is really core to what we do, and it's really hard to get that right. The physics involved in generative video of making sure people can't walk through walls and that it's consistent from one shot to another is something that is really difficult to do. And we're on our way, and the improvements every 2-3 months when we release the next generation of models is something that I think is really interesting. I did want to touch on the question you asked about how do you get feedback and that type of thing. One of the things that I didn't talk about that's interesting is content analytics. So when you put a piece of content out there, social media or whatever it is, what is generating the person to click on that? Is it the color? Is it the image? Is it the format? We're now able to deconstruct basically any image and talk about, okay, here, a birthday cake or whatever it is in there that drove the conversion. So I think it's really interesting when you combine that with the human research that you do. Now we have the ability through AI to do a lot more, detailed analytics around this stuff.
It's terrific.
Yeah, so I'll add quickly, we continue to be focused on really that foundational technology in venues that then facilitate, again, all of these great applications. The confluence of events that we're seeing right now is definitely significant investment in new venues as well as renovations to existing venues, making sure that venues of all shapes and sizes are competitive, and then technology updates specifically in Wi-Fi, where there's now more spectrum available for Wi-Fi than there's ever been before. We're moving to a Wi-Fi 7 standard over time, which is going to have significant benefits as well. And then additionally, with private networks and the private 5G networks that Matt and Christian were mentioning, making sure that those private 5G networks are available to support back of house. So we're working with we have literally dozens of projects across the country in sports entertainment to do that. And then really translating some of the things that Carrie is talking about, going then down to, there's all kinds of minor league ballparks, minor league soccer teams that really want to benefit from all of the technologies that you guys bring to bear, and we want to be able to, again, give that foundational, put that foundational technology in place to support it.
Awesome, thank you. We do have a lot of questions on the app, so I do want to be able to get to some of those. So let me hit a couple of them, and then maybe we can circle back to some more kind of down the line questions. Question for everyone, what are the best ways for teams to engage with fans outside of game day? So, obviously, the nostalgia, a large part of that is being in the venue on game day. So I don't know whether you want to speak to that, or
Start, yeah.
Jason and Sam? Yeah.
We spend a lot of time with fans searching for tickets, purchasing tickets, making sure that they have the right field of view from those seats, how to optimize their seat selection, feeding them upcoming games that may align with their interests or their geography, depending on their location. So I would say a lot of it is regarding upcoming games.
Terrific.
I can add. I think, like from an Adobe perspective, we talk about personalization at scale, and the 3 pillars: data, content, journeys. If you're able to do that in an automated way, in a scaled way, now you're talking to me or to Carrie, or like you're talking to that fan in a hyper-personalized way that's going to keep that interest and engagement going.
Yeah, I think, again, kind of foundationally, the app is everything. I think you guys have an amazing app. A number of teams, the MLS have amazing apps. St. Louis is one of those where they get a lot of engagement on the app, even outside of the ballpark, and really have made that really center point to how they keep up with fans, making sure notifications are real, and making it a really engaging experience, I think is the key to that.
Yeah, and I think that's where the personalization comes into, right? It can't come across like just a generic thing that pops up that everybody is getting, if it's tailored to their unique kind of interests. I'm more likely to come back to the app even if it's not a game day or something like that.
That's right.
I have an interesting insight that we had that actually is the opposite of that. But we had an hypothesis that personalizing game options for fans would lead to better conversion. But what we found is that fans didn't want to be fed that they actually preferred the option of having a very wide purview and being able to search in their own way. So that was sort of an interesting insight that we didn't expect.
Yeah,
but it did inform our approach to how we optimized for sales conversion.
That is interesting.
That is interesting. What do you think is driving that?
Yeah.
People want like discovery of.
I think they want. Some of them have a very specific date that they're available, so they can only go on a Tuesday, or something else that might be driving that. But it's not always just the combination of their favorite team and the next game. So
Interesting.
Very cool. I do have one question, Carrie, back to you. Someone said, fantastic presentation, first of all. Great, thank you. Can you address how you plan to focus on the experience of security and bag checks during the entry process? Obviously, another pain point for folks. And while you can limit the bags that they bring, some people still need to bring something, and it for sure slows you down and can kind of put a little wrinkle in your entry. So are you guys looking into that?
So across the league, there's been a lot of research on free flow security screening to keep those moving. And even people with bags, if something of danger is not detected, they can just keep walking in. So the bag check really becomes more of an exception as opposed to every single person being checked. That varies stadium to stadium, club by club, based on their bag policies. But it was really about optimization of the full flow. So we would keep the majority of people moving, and then the exceptions would be pulled off so that people aren't waiting and staggering in line behind them.
Awesome. You mentioned stadium by stadium. Obviously, we've got a whole league. There's all different idiosyncrasies within. As you guys kind of take a larger look, view from 1,000 feet, 10,000 feet, what teams or leagues do you feel are really kind of setting the bar for the fan experience today, particularly when it comes to using technology? Feel free to.
I'm going to have to say MLB, but now that Carrie said personalization doesn't work, I don't know what I'm going to say. I'm a Phillies fan. I benefited from that walkthrough, and I also did the dance. Philly fans were passionate about everything, including the entry. And it went from waiting in line for an hour and a half, to just walking through. I thought, that is just amazing improvement. So I'll stick with MLB.
Yes, certainly MLB, and then I'll add Major League. Well, what I'll say is all of them, and we're partnered across all the leagues in different ways and different sizes, but all of them have really committed people that are working on how do we translate this improving the fan experience.
Yeah.
I think because we highlighted them today, Major League Soccer, I think is really forward-leaning on this in terms of, hey, it's different than a baseball game. It's different than a football game in terms of what that experience is, how long the fans, there's no halftime, there's no seventh inning stretch. So how the time in the venue is really, really important. So they're trying to bring people in sooner with tech-enabled ways to get them in there sooner, have them stay a little bit later, because in between the game is actually, compared to everything else, relatively short. So
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting challenge that they have and are working really hard to make sure that technology facilitates it.
Yeah.
And MLB.
But of course. Jason, to go back to something actually you said at the beginning of your presentation about talking about the fans while they're in the venue, you had mentioned how athletes are content creators for you now, and that's something that the teams and the leagues need to consider. But also, the fans are becoming content creators for you guys, right?
Yeah,
Everybody's
100%.
got their phones and they're recording stuff as it happens and posting, and so kind of
Yeah.
how do you incorporate that now into the bigger picture for
Yeah,
you?
so I'll just give an example from last week, and this wasn't a sports venue, it was a brand new music venue in Nashville called The Pinnacle in Nashville Yards, which is a new development. And we did all the connectivity there, and a few of us were there. We watched a concert. If you just stand at the back of the room and watch this concert proceed, Casey Musgraves is up on stage. She's great live, by the way. And everybody is uploading videos from this concert. And it's upload. So they're not trying to grab other content. They're sharing this. And they're truly trying to create, not intentionally or unintentionally, creating this sense of FOMO in these places. So I think it's incumbent on us to make sure that to keep putting people into the venue, having your fans organically show how great the venue is and how great the live experience is really key to that.
Yeah, right. It just keeps it going. It perpetuates the cycle, right?
Yeah.
The more that watch it,
Yeah.
as long as they can get everything to upload.
As long as they get everything to upload, yeah.
Well, we are woefully running out of time rather quickly. I'll throw it to you guys if there's anything that you wanted to throw out there on the fan experience, a closing note, a parting shot for anybody?
I think we covered it all.
Yeah, great.
I think we have
Thanks
we
to
have
you.
no time to spare. So
Thank
I
you.
thank you all for your generosity with your time and your knowledge. This was terrific. And so thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you for the good questions.
Nice job.
All right, as our panelists exit the stage and we get ready for networking, a couple quick comments here. The networking break sponsored by American Tower. They were an attendee last year, and now they're a sponsor this year, and we love that transition, and we really appreciate the support. That's awesome. If you're loving what you're learning and hearing up here on stage, obviously SBJ covers so many of these topics and many more throughout the year. We really have the best editors and journalists in the whole sports industry, and so we have obviously our annual subscription. I think everyone here is aware of. And if you use code TECH100, we're happy to offer $100 off for that subscription. And if you're really looking for just tech content, check out our Select Tech subscription as well. So just a couple quick plugs, but I think it makes for some great continuity throughout the year to learn on stage, go home, make sure you and your organization is up to date on the news that unfolds throughout the year. And then last quick thing that we're super excited about is we've launched what is called Leaders Club. And it's a really great membership for future leaders in the industry. This is meant to accelerate their careers, drive business results, develop critical relationships and skills and knowledge, and really learn from other senior experts in the sports industry. We have over 500 members worldwide. We're doing like a chapter-by-chapter approach. We have London is our first group, and we've launched New York, which is starting to really grow, and that's very exciting. So please, if you see an SBJ staff member, you're interested, if you see myself, let us know, and we're happy to tell you more. It's a really great way to invest in people in your organization and help accelerate their careers. So with that, thank you so much. Let's go to our first networking break, and I'm curious what everyone's first sports memories are, going back to Carrie's presentation. Thank you, everyone.